The moment a mother is found guilty of murdering her 3 daughters.
Do 11 of you find the defendant, Lauren Ann Dickason, guilty of murder, or do you find the defendant, Lauren Ann Dickason, not guilty of murder?
Guilty of murder.
Lauren Dickason now faces a life sentence for the murder of each of her children, 6-year-old Liane and 2-year-old twins Maya and Carla. The verdict following a 4-week-long trial in which the 42-year-old mounted a defence of infanticide and insanity. A jury of 8 women and 4 men reaching a majority verdict, 11-1, guilty of murder.
Mrs. Dickason, on each of the 3 charges, I formally convict you.
Lauren Dickason and her family immigrated to New Zealand from South Africa in August 2021. After 2 weeks in an Auckland MIQ facility, they moved to Timaru on September 11. Just 5 days later, she killed her kids in their new home while her husband was at a work dinner. In July of this year, the High Court trial began, and on August 16, after 15 hours of deliberations, a majority verdict was accepted. The jury heard extensive evidence about Dickason's life before and after she and her family immigrated. Dickason's lengthy battle with a major depressive disorder, her gruelling fertility journey, including at least 17 rounds of IVF, and the loss of a baby early in pregnancy, as well as her struggles with motherhood, were all canvassed. The court was also shown videos of Dickason and her husband Graham being interviewed by police after the little girls were killed. Graham then gave evidence via audio-visual link from his home in Pretoria after he chose not to return to New Zealand to attend proceedings in person.
She was not someone who snapped in anger. She was not an abusive mother. The prosecutor said she was responding to the behaviour of the children at the time when she snapped, but I suggest that you know that's not what happened. Members of the jury, I suggest that this awful event would never have happened if Lauren Dickason was not depressed, and if she'd only been treated for her depression, things might have been different.
The Crown say she wasn't so unwell that she has a medical defence available to her. On the contrary, the Crown say that on the 16th of September, her actions are actually explained by 2 primary drivers: her anger at her children's behaviour and her need for control. Now, in that moment, that isolated moment, there was a loss of control in the context of the situation that she found herself in. Undoubtedly, the depression affected her judgment and her decision-making in that moment, but not to such a degree that she was unable to understand that her actions were morally wrong.
Under a compulsory treatment order, Dickason's been remanded at Hill Morton Hospital until her sentencing date is set.
What I'm going to do now is remand you for sentencing for a date to be fixed. I make an order under section 38(1)(c) of the Criminal Procedure Mentally Impaired Persons Act for a health assessor to prepare an assessment report on you for the purpose of assisting the court to determine the type and length of the sentence that might be imposed and the nature of any requirement the court may impose as part of or as a condition of any sentence or order under subparagraph D of that section. Having made that order for an assessment report under section 38(1), I order you to be detained in a hospital or secure facility for the purpose of that assessment, having received advice from your treating clinician that because of your present condition or presentation, a remand in prison would be inappropriate at this time, and that you are indeed presently subject to section 30 of the Mental Health Compulsory Assessment and Treatment Act. All right. Ms. Beaton, is there anything you wish to add or say?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, thank you, Mrs. Dickason. You may stand down.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel to stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald. Click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.